Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex, and in today's video I wanted to bring you guys a Diluc main DPS build and the best tips and tricks that I can give you guys. So I'm going to be going over artifacts, weapons, party members, party units that help support Diluc. I'm going to be going over elemental reaction, animation canceling tricks that'll help you maximize your DPS. So I want to be giving you guys basically an in-depth guide as a free-to-play Diluc player. Alright guys, so starting off, you guys can see my basic stats. We have about 20k HP. Doesn't really matter, but it's there, which is nice to have, lots of HP, even though you don't really want to be going for that. Everybody knows that. We have about 2k attack, which doesn't seem like a lot, but keep in mind that Diluc doesn't need a high base attack. He just needs a lot of pyro attack, considering that that's about like 85 to 90% of the damage that he puts out is going to be pyro damage. So defense, we don't really need to worry about that. Elemental Mastery 166 and max stamina. He has a 61.4% crit rate, which is also really nice. And then we have a 121.5% crit damage. That is also extremely nice. We have some decent energy recharge and a 61.6% pyro damage bonus. Now if we head back, let's go ahead and take a look at his weapon and let you know what we're working with. Now this is the prototype Archaic, which used to be called the prototype Aminus. Not entirely sure why they changed that, but it's still a prototype Aminus to me. The Crush is a very good stat for a free-to-play weapon. So this is the best, this is without a doubt the best free-to-play weapon that you guys can get for Diluc. If you have Wolf's Gravestone, it is better, obviously, but as a free-to-play stance, this is the best weapon you can have on Diluc. With a Force 97 base attack at level 80, over 5 in rank 3, of course you're going to get that 360% attack damage. Every 50% every 15 seconds, and that 25.1% extra base attack. Next up, guys, we're going to be going over artifacts. Now, all of my artifacts are level 5 and they are level 20. But they aren't perfect. My artifacts are not perfect. They are very strong. They make my Diluc very strong. He's not cracked, so don't come in here thinking I'm going to show you guys some cracked Diluc gameplay. I'm going to be showing you some strong Diluc gameplay. He's very viable. He's extremely strong. He doesn't have any problems defeating anything. But he's not cracked out of his mind. He's not going to be one-shotting bosses. But we'll get to that in a minute. The set bonuses you guys can see here. We have a Crimson Witch of Flames, 2-piece set bonus of pyro damage plus 15%. And a Wanderer's Trope, which is giving us Elemental Mastery. It's increasing it by 80. So if we go ahead and take a look. These are some pretty good artifacts. We have some crit damage, crit rate, attack, and then some defense. We don't need the defense, but that's a good artifact, and so is this one, coming at attack, crit damage, and elemental mastery. And because this one has a lot of crit damage and not a lot of crit rate, for the helmet, we are running crit rate on this one. And this is honestly not that good of an artifact either. It could be a lot better, but that's what we're working with right now. So for the Hourglass, we are using the Concert's Final Hour. This gives us attack bonus of 46.6%, crit rate 3.9, crit damage 11.7, and some energy recharge, which isn't terrible on Diluc, but it's not the best. I would rather have Elemental Mastery or obviously attack. Anything like that would be the best, but it does have some decent side stats. For this one is very important. For the Goblet, it is very, very, very important that you need a pyro damage bonus. Goblet, it's just essential. You need to have it. It'll boost your damage so high. I don't have the best side stats. I have some Elemental Mastery and some crit damage, which is nice because we need as much crit damage as we can get. But this is not the best artifact in the world, but it is so essential that you have pyro damage bonus artifacts on your characters. Obviously, for the last one, I already talked about this. We're going to have crit rate and some attack. It's not the best, though, but he is still putting out really good damage for the artifacts that he does have. Now, obviously, the artifact sets you're gonna want to go for is the 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flames. It's pretty difficult to farm and get 4 extremely strong pieces for it, so I wouldn't sweat it. It's going to take me a while to farm and stack up the proper artifacts, but my Diluc is doing just fine with this 2-piece set because the Elemental Mastery does help out a lot, especially since we're triggering Melt a lot, which we'll get into in just a second. But you're definitely going to want to be getting this 4-piece as soon as possible because it'll increase all of your elemental reactions and your burning damage. It's just basically made for Diluc. It's just crazy. I'm only using Wanderer's Troop because it's They were just the two artifacts that I managed to have that worked together pretty well. It doesn't have to be the Wanderer's Troop. It is nice to get that extra, elemental mastery to maximize some of your, elemental reaction damage. But you can also use the Gladiator's Finale set. You can use a 2-piece Gladiator set if you need to. That's also really good on Diluc if you don't have the 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flames. Constellation, we are going to be skipping this because it is free to play. Constellations, each and every one of them obviously help him out a lot. We're going to be skipping these because we are free to play. So obviously free to play build, we don't need to cover those. For talents, you need to get these up as fast as possible. Mine are still somewhat underleveled, but we're working on them. We're going to farm those out as soon as possible. But yeah, you definitely want to get these bad boys up as much as possible because, I mean, he's going to be your main DPS. Mine aren't up that high because I was using Kaching for the longest time, so we were trying to max out her talents, but we just got better artifacts for Diluc, so we've been using him a lot more. So that's going to be all for our Diluc build, the weapon, the artifact, and the constellation and talent. And let's go ahead and head over to our party members, and I'll explain why we're using who we're using. So guys, for our current party setup, we are using Diluc, Xiangyang, Bennett, and Jean. Here's the reason why. For Diluc, the strongest elemental reaction you can get with him is going to be Melt, and that comes with Cryo and Pyro. Now, people argue and say Kai is the better one. It honestly just comes down to who you prefer to use. I'd rather use Xiangyang with the Sacrificial Greatsword, which I think is really strong on him, and he converts all of your attacks to Cryo. So you're able to pop one of your Diluc's E's. You're able to pop one of Diluc's E's. After you pop this, it affects the Cryo status, and now Diluc's damage is going to be converted to Cryo. So Cryo, E, Cryo, E, Cryo, and then you can do your last E. But you guys get it. You guys get exactly how it works. So that's why I think it's really strong. You're able to completely keep using Cryo without having to switch back to Xiangyang every time. Next up, we're using Bennett. He's a healer. He's really strong. He's also amplifies your damage with his ultimate, and he's just a really strong healer. Overall, like there's no doubting that Bennett's the strongest, one of the strongest healers in the game, if not the strongest healer. And he also gives us some extra attack right up here. We're affected by cryo for 40% less time, increases attack by 25%. That's crazy. So it's not essential to have that. That's just nice to have. So that's why I'm rocking Bennett there as a main healer, small, very very light support, but mostly just as a healer. And Jane, we're using her for Swirl. This last spot right here is where things get flexible. You could use somebody like Fischl if you wanted to for Overloaded. You could use somebody like Xingqiu if you wanted to trigger Vaporize. You could run Sucrose. You could honestly run like just about anybody. As long as they have like a pretty decent elemental reaction. You can run Zhongli. I'm running Jean as a secondary healer because to me it bothers me when my characters aren't at max HP, so she's able to boost them up to max HP and stuff. But and she also triggers Swirl, which is really nice. So these are our party members. But you definitely need the main two are these two together. Well, obviously you have Pyro as your main DPS, and then you need a Cryo as a support. Now, something big that I want to get into is your elemental reaction, because if you don't trigger Melt properly, you're not going to get as much damage. Now, I hit occasionally, not occasionally, very often, I will hit about 12 to 17k crit damage off of my E. That's right, off of my E, I'll hit about 12 to 17,000 damage. I can show you guys gameplay on the screen right now, but it's absolutely crazy that I can hit that much damage on this. So guys, to trigger the elemental reaction properly, you're going to want to hit Xiangyang's E first, or Kaya's E, depending on who it is, and make sure that you affect them with the Cryo status, and then pop your E. This will maximize your melt damage because you're going to be doing Cryo second, and you can do that as much as you guys want. So next up, we're going to be talking about some animation canceling and tricks that you can do with this E. So first off is the animation canceling. This one's very basic. It's way easier than some people like, Fischl, where you have to time it like properly, and you have to double tap R out of aiming shot mode. Those of you who's ever used Fischl as a main DPS know what I'm talking about, or any archer for that matter. But for Diluc, on his fourth attack, his attack gets very slow. So that's a long time that he sits there with his sword in the ground for no reason. That's probably because he hits it with one hand. He lobs his sword with one hand instead of, hitting it with two hands like a normal human being. So there's two ways you can cancel this animation. The first one is after you trigger it, you can just jump out of it. And the second one is very obvious, and probably the easier option is to dash out of it, and then you can just go right back into it. So guys, for this part of the video, I want to be explaining his E, because a lot of people, I mean, when you first get him, you just want to do all 3 E's, right? It's very tempting, it's very nice, but there is a couple ways you can amplify this and get the maximum DPS out of it. So a lot of people that I see, they tend to go E, light attack, E, light attack, E, which is fine. That works perfectly well. But depending on the situation you're in, there is a couple different variations of this you could do. For instance, what I like to do is sometimes I'll go E, light attack, light attack, light attack, E, and then you can do even 4 light attacks before you pop your final E, and then it goes on cooldown. So you can honestly do four light attacks before you get your E back, and because there's a small circle that you can use your E again. Also, something else I like to do sometimes is I'll go E, and I'll swap to somebody, elemental reaction, swap back, E again, elemental reaction, final E, and then you still have a small cooldown down here in the bottom right. So that is something else to take in consideration, is you're able to use his E. You can pop Xiangyung's E, you can pop his Q, and then you can swap back to Diluc and use his next E. And it's just very nice to be able to swap between party members and then come back to him and use his E again, to maximize, you know, your damage and your elemental reactions. That was 13k, by the way. For those of you guys who didn't see that, that is the power of elemental reactions. I told you it's not rare to hit high numbers. Where did he go? So that's why you want to apply cryo first, and then you apply. That was 12k in one hit. 12k off of 1 E, guys. That's just crazy right there. 12k off of 1 E. I hope this helps you guys, you know, like, understand how important it is to get your elemental reactions in order. Because if you're just going for melt and you're going, you know, E and then Xiangyung's E, you're not going to get as much damage. So please keep in mind the elemental reactions when you're using Diluc and what order they go in, because it's very important. Anyways, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and if this helped you with your free-to-play Diluc build at all, just let me know down in the comments. These videos do take a little while to edit and to, you know, gather all the information for, so if you guys could either just like and or subscribe, that would mean the world to me. That's going to be about all, though. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Diluc says hi, by the way. Peace.